And welcome back to episode 135 of the Unpaid and Underrated Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Big Keith, joined as always here by Big Joey.
Welcome to the Glaze Cast.
And special guest this week, Big Katie.
Hello.
Hello. Let's just dive right into it. What are you drinking over there this week, Katie?
I have, like Big Jen, I have my emotional support water bottle close at hand, and then I have a spruce from Black Husky Brewing, local brewery here.
Spruce, is that made with spruce tips?
It is. This is actually the Christmas edition, so it has boughs from the City of Milwaukee Christmas tree in it.
That's amazing. I don't know if you guys know, but spruce tips, they're a little like hops. They taste very lemony, very citrusy, are dumb high in vitamin C, and are actually really good for you. So if you see some spruces and you can break off those little green tips, not too many because we want to let the tree survive, you can just eat those, like straight up just eat them. They're like jelly. So it's really cool that that's made with that because that's better than hops because hops taste like grapefruit farts.
Well, I'm not an arborist, so I'm not sure about that, but I do have a LaCroix lemon brand this year. Tonight, that is this year. Oh, yeah, I mean, it is. It is this is the new year, so close enough. What about you, Joey?
Water and some Mick Ultras and some ammonia because it
Nice.
it is still boxing week at my workplace, so I am still working
Sounds
a
unpleasant.
lot.
Mm.
And my phone's not even plugged in. Oh, that's gonna hurt.
Our second segment we always dive right into is what are we wearing? I'll kick that off. I got the Weekend Warrior lift shirt tonight. What about you, Katie? What you rocking? I see a hoodie.
Yep, I have my lift hoodie and then my purple Masconomics Gym boxy tee underneath.
Oh, nice. I have yet to get any of the boxy tees, so we'll
No,
see.
boxy tees are where it's at. That's everything's
Yeah,
going that direction.
I see that.
Yeah, I was skeptical at first. They're great, especially when you can get one in purple, which I apparently didn't own any purple t-shirts, so I just had to buy it.
I guess I'm always afraid. Is it still like soft? I'm always afraid like a boxy shirt's gonna be like rough, like construction paper kind of feel. I don't know. I don't know why that's like mental image in my head of like it just
Uh,
not being comfortable.
so the Massonomics ones are very soft.
Okay.
Uh, the
Yeah,
one I,
agreed.
the one I got, the anti-influencer one, actually Morgan says she likes that one because when she folds it and she goes to snap it, it makes a very loud snapping noise because it is very strong cotton. It still feels soft, but it's hard as heck. I'm wearing a Live Large shirt because RIP.
Yeah.
RIP our friends Nick at Live Large and my understanding one of the big companies to do it first to do fitness and lifting apparel,
Oh,
not because of
I
payroll.
I thought yeah they're gonna put a paywall.
Nope.
I thought you were gonna do a self burn.
No, very heralded as one of the first to do what they did, and I was lucky enough to have their shirt that says "Never Strong Enough." And after seeing that their big going away party was either last week or the week before, I thought, hey, I'd rock one on the podcast to give them a send off.
Well, there you go. Well, and another send off this week we had is the end of the Massonomics Fantasy Football League. There was 12 of us that played that, including Big Tanner, myself, Chris, bunch of guys. The championship round came down to me and Chris, and it would have put me in the Hall of Fame jacket because I needed an award, and Tanner was going to count that as a contest win, and I came up a little short, guys. Sorry to say. Unless something happens in the next 12 months, I will not be getting my Hall of Fame jacket until next December. So, very, very disappointed and upset for that. But congratulations to Big Chris. You got one over on me, big guy. So you won't
Well,
be
if
doing
there's
that again next
anything
year.
people really want to hear about,
Yep.
it's other
Hey,
people's fantasy footballs.
that's right. That is right. Well, it was fitting. So it was kind of amusing. Anyone following, I'm sure. Hopefully Tanner might touch base on it, but I don't know because the most recent episode, the game wasn't over until they were already. The game was still going on when they were recording, so he couldn't. There wasn't a final, decision yet. But Tanner ended up coming in fourth place. He lost his last two games of the year, I believe. So it was kind of amusing considering he like was in the lead the entire year and was like a shoe in to win the everything and just kind of fell a little short. But
Also, speaking of Discord, I got tagged into that, and God, I wish I could get out of that thread.
yeah, I don't know why fucking Damager did that. You ought to be able to leave. We'll
It
figure
was
out a way to
really
kick you
funny
out.
when he did it, but just like, damn it, I don't want those updates
Yeah.
anymore.
Less is more sometimes for sure. But all in all, it was good stuff. What else did we have? We had we're a couple weeks behind, so the last episode you guys heard was Old Ham, but we recorded that a while ago. So Joey and I had all Christmas off, so we're just getting back on this just swing of things. So I'm trying to think of any YouTube videos we missed. There's probably the Crew Falls and the gym tour, and the most recent one would have been the Minnesota Department of Lifter Safety. It was a good video. It was actually I missed that whole thing, other than apparently being in the background of it, and then one of the I think it was Garrett or somebody called it out of like say and started making memes of me like putting Tanner's crash pads away without him knowing it. So that was pretty amusing. But that was a really actually good video, and I actually watched and paid attention to the side spotting, and then I had to side spot someone that week, and I still sucked at it, but I feel like I was a little bit better. And I actually talked to Nas, and I sent him the video. I was like, rate my side spotting. I think he gave me like a 7.2 or something. Like it wasn't very good. And I was like, all right, I'll do better, Nas. I'm sorry, I'm not as good as you, big guy. But good video. Go watch that. And yeah, Happy New Year's, everybody. How the fuck is it 2025? That blows my mind. Like, we're a quarter into the century. Well, starting to the first year of a quarter in the century. That is baffling. Like I feel like I remember 2000 just like it was the other day. Like fucking
You're still stuck
Y2K.
there. All of your music tastes are still stuck there.
Yes, facts. That's the most
Yeah,
accurate thing you've
it's
said on this
just the
podcast.
natural progression of time, Keith. Like we're all
It's just weird.
not really, but I
Mm,
see what you're saying. Like, yeah, I hit 40 in the time from our last recording to this recording,
yeah,
and like, yeah, definitely it is, time does move.
yeah.
It is a
March
flat circle.
marches on, as someone once said. All right. Well, let's do that little rating of last week's
I,
episode.
I like how you tried to go like a little emotional there, and then I was just like, no, shut down.
Fuck off. I'm gonna be addicted to you one of these days, and you're
Yeah,
gonna not like it.
normally that's me, and then you do it, and I'm just like, no,
Mm,
jokes. All right, yeah.
okay.
What's your next step, buddy?
Last week's episode, the call in. I was actually I initially had a question, uh, and then I was just like, man, this shit isn't good. He's not gonna call me till like 11 o'clock. I can't in my like I don't want to be talking and waking up the wife. So I DM'd Tanner. I was like, please don't call me. Like give it to somebody else. Like just let someone else answer the phone. Uh, but all in all, my favorite part was obviously when Big Matt decided to put his phone on Do Not Disturb, and or well, to not take it off Do Not Disturb. So then he actually didn't get a call, and I just thought that was so fitting that Big Matt just wasn't available to take the call. So
Are we talking
anytime,
mostly squat videos, Matt?
yeah, that's why it's funny because they didn't get to him essentially.
And same with Nate.
Well, there were several, but it was more funny when it was Big Matt because it harkened on our bit. Yeah, man, it's not as funny when I have to explain it. You fuck. Now I know. Now I know how the Davids feel. It really isn't as funny when you have to explain it.
Well, aren't you one
But
of the Davids anyway?
Yeah, you
yes,
are
I'm a
one of the
David.
Davids. There's
I'm a
so many
David.
Davids.
I'm the best David there is. But all in all,
Whoa, whoa,
I
whoa,
am,
whoa.
and for all those reasons, I will go ahead and give last week's episode 5 out of 5 Davids.
Go ahead, Katie. How do you feel about last week's episode?
I always enjoy the good call-in episodes, like hearing from different crew members, and I thought we got a good combination of both serious goose and silly goose questions. Not hawks, Keith, geese. So I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 generic voicemail greetings.
I, so that's a new thing. So Apple has now made so that Siri is your voicemail.
Like
So what?
default or an option
Yeah.
because I recorded a voicemail 15 years ago and it's probably still there, but maybe not.
So you
Hi,
have
Morgan.
your Hi Morgan. So you have your carrier voicemail, which is the one that you record, but Apple actually has a like a preset Siri one. So whatever Siri voice you have is what answers, and that's what we got out of all of them. And what's really funny is I have a female Siri. My wife has a British David Siri, I guess. And yeah, so every time I phone her, I hear the British David like, "Yo, has been set to voicemail," and I'm like, anyway. So that's what we got out of that, and
Got
that's a new thing. So you can tell who's calling iPhones. Um, I did message Kurt and tell him that I think the best way to get your wife involved and excited is to show her the recap videos about how much fun we're having. Because
Yeah.
he was saying like, how do I get my wife excited
I'd
to
say that
come?
there's a lot of family in the background of those and just like,
Yeah,
the
and
crowds and
just
shit.
show that because
That's
even
fair.
Morgan has said like, I would love to come with you, but I don't want to come as a parent. I want to come as your wife.
Yeah.
And if we bring the kids, she knows she's just watching kids while I be me. But she's like, otherwise, like that looks like incredible fun. So I think that I did message him and say, like, that's the best way to convince her to come. Like, show her us having the time of our lives. And he did say that, like, she just wants to come meet everybody because she's heard nothing but great things about all of the crew that he met in Crew Falls. I do enjoy call-in episodes. I think that they can go either one way or another, and I think this one went the right way. I do regret not submitting a question, but at the same time, I've already checked that off my Hall of Fame, and I think it's time to give other people a chance to do that. So for that, I'm going to give that 5 out of 5 silly pints.
Nice. What about you, Katie?
Shardy did her.
Did she? Yeah, she did. Well, I was talking about something else. I wasn't talking about rate last week's episode. I was talking about how did she feel about the what was it the top 10 episodes that they shared, and specifically episode 9 out of 10 and how it featured me and how awesome that was. Self plug. No, that was pretty cool though when I saw that. And I was obviously like you can tell they're obviously leaning into the home gyms, content because like they're just trying to pick up more people and listeners and fans and like that is such a fucking easy thing to obviously anyone Googles home gyms and if Massonomic comes up on anything home gym related, you're bound to get some more followers, you'd think. So, I think almost every one of the top 10 episodes they had was somewhat home gym or home gym adjacent. So that was kind of cool to see.
Just trying to sell more certified training facility banners.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are none.
That one was a hard so like and that was obviously I was gonna buy one, but like what was it, $60 I think? Like not realizing the whole map thing and like the
Yep.
actual the certification, like I really had a hard time swallowing like I don't want to pay $60 for fucking banner. Like I
And
really don't
that's
want to
how,
pay 60 bucks for but now it's like okay, cool. That it's worth $60. Like
and that's
getting your
kind of
shit
how
on
it
the
like,
website and all that, it was worth $60.
don't take this the wrong way, anybody, but that's kind of how stupid we are.
Yeah.
We didn't even know what we were buying. They launched it, we bought it
Yeah.
within 90 minutes, sold it
Like this is
out,
so
and
much
then we're
cooler than I
like,
thought.
wait a minute, we got our name on it. Like we didn't even know what we were buying. But
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it last week or whatever week. Geez, it's been like 100 weeks. And then I was just like, Morgan, I need to buy this. And she was like, no, like we are budgeting right now. And I was like, but they're gonna sell out. I didn't even know that there was like a map. I didn't know any of that
Yeah.
stuff. So I'm also missing my phone charger, which is why you guys see me kind of scrambling here. So bear with me for a minute.
That's all right. We can segue that into letting Katie do her ad read.
Okay. Are your friends and family sick of hearing about how much you lifted this week? Does your significant other roll their eyes when you ask them if you think you can pick up this rock? Visit massonomics.com/join and you can choose a level of payment in order to make new internet friends in the Massonomics Discord who will enjoy hearing about your lifting and will encourage you that yes, you should try to pick up that rock. Join for the memes, stay for the discussion of which regional foods are the best and whether or not Ohio is part of the Midwest.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well done. Always like a little Ohio talk.
That was good. I love picking up rocks.
I've been rocks just keep popping up in my marketplace feed now and like stones and stuff. I'm just like, where's none of the good ones anywhere? Like it's like everything. Like nothing that I would buy is anywhere fucking close. I'm like, stop showing me shit that's 8 hours away. You fucking marketplace. I'm talking about a marketplace,
You're
douche.
so
Shut up,
mad.
Joey.
You're so mad.
That was not well. It's early. She's still awake, so I can be a little madder now. I can't be this mad at 11. I gotta get it out sub 9. Well,
What?
well, you know what I'm talking
New segment. Keith rages before his wife falls asleep.
about.
Yeah, there it is. Yep. How
Yeah.
mad can we get Keith before Steph falls asleep?
Oh, I will do a fucking little rant. Yeah, you're pulling it out of me. So New Year's Eve, we went to a nice fancy restaurant we had a reservation, but then we kind of got the shaft and got like the one of the seats in the bar area, which kind of sucks. Because I was like, yeah, fuck, like we made a reservation like a fucking couple weeks ago. We're all dressed up, and here we are, fucking sitting in the bar. It wasn't that big of a deal. And then this like party of four comes in, sits at the bar, thought they could just like get a table, like tried to like take tables in the bar, even though they were all reserved. Proceeded to just be super loud and obnoxious right next to us. And then the one dude had the audacity to take his phone out and just turn fucking Spotify on full blast, just listen to like fucking like 90s rock music, like on New Year's Eve.
Oh.
And and then so super fucking annoying. But the best part was it fucking cuts to a commercial, and I look at Stephanie. I'm like, this motherfucker doesn't even have Spotify Premium, and I said it loud enough that they had to have fucking heard me, because I'm just like, you're this much of you're being this much of an asshole. You can't even have you don't even have the fucking you have the audacity to be this big of a douche. But like, I guess it makes sense. You wouldn't have Spotify Premium because you're that big of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, I that fucking and borderline like we were like 50% done when they kind of sat down, so we just kind of had to power through just like the actual like tail end of the meal. But it was just like, you ruined my fucking night. Like you literally ruined like the last half of my dinner, you fucking piece of shit. So that was that. I got that off my chest. Thank you for being my therapy blanket there, unpaid and underrated.
Hey, Katie. So let's start with your Massonomics journey. What brought you to Massonomics?
So I'm on Instagram like everyone is, right? So I'd seen their posts on Instagram on and off. I generally wasn't a big listening to podcast person for a long time. But then I changed jobs in 2021 and I started working from home more. And after being in like the busy, bustling environment with lots of people all the time, to go to the dead silence of my basement with like an occasional holler down from my husband working upstairs, I was
Hmm.
like, I can't sit here in silence. So I started listening to more music. And then I was like, I'm kind of sick of the music. So I started listening to podcasts. And obviously, I was into strength stuff. So I listened to a few here and there. I started kind of hunting and pecking Massonomics episodes based on guests that I was interested in. And at first, I was one of those like, oh, what's this first 20 minutes of stuff? And then it was like, but wait, I kind of like the first 20 minutes of random stuff and random Midwest discussions and two dudes from South Dakota just shooting the shit. So I started listening more regularly. And then I think in June of 23, was when I was like, well, you've been listening to this pretty regularly for a while now. The least you could do is like throw them some LaCroix money once a month. So that's when I joined the crew. And then, yeah, kept listening.
Nice. I feel like you've been around longer than that. That's crazy. You only been here for 18 months or so. That's oh, for some reason I feel like you've had a bigger presence or longer standing than that. But that's pretty cool though. I always like a good origin story. Would you remember a couple of the first couple episodes? You were like, "Oh, this is someone I love. I want to listen to this episode."
I probably like one of the episodes with the hybrid performance method folks, Steffi and Hayden was probably
Mm.
those because I used to kind of follow their training program. Anything with a strongman probably popped up on my radar.
I heard she had a new training program now where it's all about sweeping the leg of the police officer, right? Wasn't that a...
Yeah. Oh, if only you could have seen the reactions to that world listening to this. Where do we find you on Instagram and Discord if you want us to find you at all?
Um, in Discord, I'm Big Katie, because I'm such a large person in actual stature. Instagram, I am my last name Moorhead, MOOR, no E, head underscore K. I also started an Instagram for my home gym recently to kind of
Ooh.
pull my lifting stuff away from maybe people who care about it less. So that is NPZ underscore strongman, which is
Oh,
no parking zone strongman, a certified Massonomics training facility located in the half of the garage that I choose not to park in.
I don't follow that, but I'm
I
about
don't
to,
either.
and
It's real new.
that's going to be a new thing. Is the certified training
Boom.
facilities?
Got it. Oh,
Yep, nailed it first.
third. Oh, fuck. Oh, God damn it. How does
Scans was first, guys.
Scans is always first. I was looking at some elbow sleeves today because it turns out that now that I'm starting strongman, I'm mildly more interested in elbow sleeves.
Yeah.
But I gave mine away. I had some for like 3 years that I never used, so I gave them away. And then I started strongman thinking, ah, crap, now I need those again. And who's the first person I text? Keith.
Chance.
No,
Oh, yeah,
Keith. And then the second one was
well, you
Skans.
said it in the group chat. Yeah. Do you have old knee sleeves that are too small? Because wear those for the time
No,
being.
we're just going to lift raw for a while.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. It's going to be easy.
What'd you end up? Do you know what? Sorry, Katie. What'd you end up using your Amazon gift card for?
Myself?
Yeah, which strongman piece that you were? Because you were debating
No,
on an axle, or I would definitely.
nothing. I used it on the kids.
Oh, okay.
Like I love
Such
my
a.
kids.
I
Yeah.
get it. Well, the card said buy it for yourself.
What I want is an axle bar, and I
Yep.
want maybe some sleeves, and none of those are. No good quality ones are on Amazon in Canada. So
God, oh yeah. I keep forgetting that your Amazon's completely different.
yeah, I'll just go to
Okay.
Bells of Steel in Mississauga and get the axle bar. I haven't told my wife I'm going to do that yet, but I'm going to do that.
That'll work. Well, speaking of locations, where are you from, Katie?
With central southeastern Wisconsin, the greater Milwaukee area.
Nice.
Milwaukee.
No, don't pronounce the L. That's how I know you're not from here. Milwaukee.
Is that pretty much home your whole life, or just where you're currently at? Where
Yep,
have you
no,
been?
I was born here, went to high school here, graduated, left for college, 1 year of work, got reassigned back to this office. Been bouncing around different suburbs till we're finally settled a bit west of the city now.
Nice.
Well, that's exciting. What's your Hall of Fame status? Do you mind if we get that out of the way?
So, like we said, I've only been in the crew for just 1 year, almost two. So I only have four. But if everything stays on plan with what we've got going on this year, I should punch out a whole lot of other ones. Really close to getting the back catalog done. Three
Nice.
episodes left.
Ooh, good stuff.
And then
Nice.
we'll hit 2 years, the Arnold tonight. I do still have to get on a call-in episode. I missed my chance a couple ago. My phone was on Do Not Disturb and Tanner tried to call me and I missed it.
Oh, good
The way
stuff.
she goes, boys.
What was I gonna? I had a let me hear. I want to hear your back catalog journey. When did you start that? How many are you burning through a day? Is this been like something you've been working on the last year and a half, or just something more recently with the Hall of Fame card?
I started sometime last year. Because I had hunt and pecked through some of the
Yeah.
episodes. I only had to get up into the low threes, I think. So there was a lot of 1.5 speed. Occasionally I have to drive several hours at a time for work. So if I'm in the car by myself, throw a couple of those bad boys on, and in a 3 hour drive, I could cruise through a couple.
Nice. A lot of us can relate to that for sure. So again, more short lived is always more unique on what the answers are. So what's the one piece of Masconomic merch that you've seen that you haven't had a chance to get?
I don't think I've had a chance to get the curl shirt. I would not mind having that one.
It's possibly. I mean, I think I've seen that one at the Arnold and Lift Hard. Like they obviously bring the band stuff out when there's no one around. Essentially, they even do the Weekend Warrior at Lift Hard Live Easy, but they won't bring that to the Arnold, obviously. But I don't know what they're gonna do in the future. That's just more of the historics.
So you are going to be at the Arnold.
I am going to be at the Arnold, yes.
Yeah. All right. Yes,
Yeah,
because
she's
we're going to be
competing,
there.
right?
Yeah, you are competing.
Are you competing on site or off site? Because there's so much stuff that's off site nowadays too.
It's my understanding is it's on site on the expo floor, so it's part of like general admission. So I qualified for what's now the Strongman Corp. They just changed it, so it's a pro am instead of the Arnold Amateur Championships.
Yeah, so they're just letting cool. Is it just like lower level pros are competing in it or something? Or like what's the I guess it's just weird to go from like being an amateur to a literal pro and amateur show, right? Like that's not super common.
Yeah, I think Big Tyler has it a little worse than me being in the super heavyweight men. Although, so I'm in the under 64 kilogram ladies. There are some pretty badass ladies who could, in theory, show up to be there. So it should be anybody who has a Strongman Corp Pro card now. That's like a perk of having the pro card is they can go to the Arnold every year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and would you earn that card by being there?
Yeah, I think you have to place in the top three. That's what it is at nationals. I got there by doing a regional qualifier as an amateur. So I we'll see if I get there. We just hope we don't zero anything.
It's
No, I
always
think you'll be
it's
fine. You'll have the Massonomics effect and a bunch of crew cheering you on.
what
I'm gonna be there. We got
what day
the
are you
crew
competing?
house
Because a
going.
lot of that stuff happens earlier in the week or later in the week too.
So it's Saturday morning.
Okay.
I
It's
assume I'm going in
it's
the morning because the lightweight women usually go first.
gotcha.
But there'll be 4 events on Saturday, and then I think it's if you're in the top 6 of your weight class, you make it to 2 events on Sunday.
Gotcha. Because you just did, was it OSG? Did you do that?
Oh, no, that was in Wisconsin. I was curling that weekend. I did Arnold Amateur is about the highest level of competition I'm interested in. OSG was probably a bit too heavy for me, especially on the
Gotcha.
deadlifts.
Gotcha. Will this be your first 2 day show then?
No,
a
I qualified and did Strongman Corp Nationals in 2022. Actually, in your neck of the woods. That one was in Erie, Pennsylvania.
oh yeah, been there hundreds of times. Awesome. Well, good luck to you. That'll be fun. I think everyone in the entire crew will be there except Big Nate because he decided to go to a wedding that day. He's
Fucking
going to
guy.
abandon us. It's been fucking like it's been 10 it's since the inception of Massonomics a decade ago. Big Nate and I have been destined to meet in person, and then he just has to always sabotage it. So I don't know.
No, I think the lore is Nate doesn't exist.
They don't believe we're here. We've got to make some noise!
Who?
Right.
I don't know. I've
Yeah.
never seen
He's
him.
kind of like birds. They're not real.
We are here! We are here! We are here!
Yeah,
We are here!
yeah. Birds. Nate's not real, and like in all fairness, I'm the only one that can attest to his. And how much do you trust me?
Listen, please! It's the most beautiful thing ever!
You were telling me to eat trees earlier.
Yeah.
I stand by that. They're delicious as shit. You throw them in some water. But anyway, eat trees more than you believe in Nate.
One thing I believe in is being a supporting member, and come with being a supporting member, you get a number. So, Katie, what is your supporting membership number?
250. Nice
Okay, that's
even
not-
one.
Hell
So
yeah.
okay, so you got him before a bunch then, because like even only being 18 months, that means we've added fucking 250 in 18 months essentially. So probably even more than that with accounting for drop offs. So well done, good number. All right, well, got a little game we like to play, relatively new, least fun, most fun. I'll give you a single topic and you kind of ramble on as little or as much as you want. But essentially. We got to get to the root of it and tell me the least fun and most fun thing about it. I think we kind of missed the mark with that with Jonathan last week, but least fun, most fun, very specific, detailed answers. So I'm gonna give you your topic for this week is Big Katie, least fun, most fun, being a mascot.
Least so
And if you want to give us a little backstory first of what what that entails and at what level.
right. So I went to a smaller college, Division 3. Among the other things I did in college for about 2 years on and off, I was the mascot uh, of Rosie the elephant. So there was an elephant suit I'd wear. The least fun parts about being a mascot are the suit is really fucking hot,
Mhm.
especially if homecoming weekend for the football team is like 80 degrees outside. That's not the most enjoyable. Another thing that is not fun is when the costume is kind of old, the head's kind of janky, so you can only see out of one eye. So occasionally you'll run into people. The most fun, so my senior year, the school I went to was in Indiana. The Final Four was in Indianapolis that year. They invited the mascots from every NCAA institution in the state, so D3, D2, D1, all got to kind of be the halftime show at
Cool.
the Reese's senior game or whatever it was, kind of between Final Four practices. So
Reese's.
I got to go to Indianapolis, wear my elephant suit that had my school's name on it, and be mistaken for the elephant from Alabama for like 2 hours in Lucas Oil Stadium.
Well timed.
But I got to,
You actually got that
Yeah.
right. Good job, Joey. Well done.
Really? Damn it.
Yes.
I wouldn't have done that if that was true.
It is the Alabama Crimson Tide. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool. I guess I don't remember how I said the head was kind of janky.
Yeah, I
So
can
we
just
were
imagine
coming
it's a little
on.
like moist and stinky too. That's just
Yeah. They
Did you have to
replaced
share it? Like, like when you were the mascot, were you the mascot for like 6 months at a time, or were you like back and forth with another person and like not getting it cleaned in between? Because I could see that just being not something I'd want to do.
They they were good about cleaning it, but I occasionally like would have it in my dorm room in a giant rubber tote, which yeah, give college kids a mascot suit in a dorm room, and I'm sure they'll never drink any alcohol and wear the elephant head around.
Never.
We need some pictures of
Um,
that. We need pictures for that one.
I'll have to see if I can dig one up. It's been a while. I mean, you can't tell
Been
it's
a
me other than
while.
it like is a shorter person in an elephant suit. But when I was doing the Final Four thing, which was cool, got to go around the stadium, see the court, and that year Butler, which is based in Indianapolis, was in the Final Four, so there was a lot of like local support and stuff going on. But we were coming out to dance on the court or whatever we were doing before the senior game, and Duke had just finished up their practice, and like I could only see out of one eye, and they were trying to funnel us, and then I like literally ran into Duke's basketball team.
That's awesome. Uh, very good.
That is good.
I like that.
We do have a question from one of the crew, I think, from Big Jen.
Yeah.
Is that our Jen?
Yes.
All right. So Jen wants to know, what's the best beer you've ever had? And was it the best beer, or was it just the best circumstance that you had drinking that beer?
Oh, best beer I've ever had. Spoiler alert, I've had a lot of beer.
Yep.
Um, oh, this is a hard one. Big Jen.
Would you like me to share a story while you think about it?
Yeah, I got a couple options I gotta.
Okay. So I think I've mentioned this before, is one time I was in Quebec and I had been driven out there for work, and it was like we were trying to get a contract. So we go out there, we work 12 hours, and then our boss takes us out for a beer and dinner. And because they have this budget to spend to get the contract, they're like, okay, we'll pay for your beer and dinner. And I drank a Labatt Blue. And now I'll tell you, I don't normally like Labatt Blue, but that was the best beer I have ever had. And it was because it was an 8-hour drive, a 12-hour shift, and it was just the most refreshing thing I have ever had. And I think that's one of those times where the circumstances made that beer so much better than the beer actually was. I know in Quebec, Labatt is a little more freshly brewed, but yeah, that definitely would be a circumstance was better than the beer itself.
Okay, I'm looking at my phone because I have untapped the beer rating
Of
app,
course.
so I'm looking at like.
I'm shocked
Nice.
I don't have
Ooh.
that. I'm
That's-
genuinely shocked I don't have that.
Is
I
that like the
tried it and I
orange-
didn't like it.
Is that Glaze Search for beer?
It essentially is. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
It's
I dig
it's
that.
it's that book app that y'all have. It's Goodreads for beer. Yeah.
Nice. Or Jeff's music app that he likes to rate, albums on. Good stuff. I think it's awesome. If you're into a hobby, like have a fucking app that you can rank shit, because
Yep.
that's pretty cool. I dig it.
So I've always loved Bell's Hop Slab. Every year it's great. I used to buy cases of it, which is kind of dumb when it's a 10% beer. We don't buy cases of it anymore. We
Oof.
restrain
Yeah.
ourselves. But Bell's Hop Slam has always been one of my favorites, and I've gotten it like on Hop Slam Day from the brewery once when I was driving back I was working in Detroit at the time, so I was driving back to Wisconsin. So I got it like freshest of the fresh. I really appreciate that now it comes out at like Thanksgiving time, so I can have it through the holidays. Another one I got really high, that's more of a story, is I was out in Red Lodge, Montana. I was in Montana for work and went over there because it was the closest area to go snowboarding. So I'm sitting at the bar. I'd gone, had a burger or something in town and tried their double IPA, Bent Nail, Broken Nail. Broken Nail's the double IPA. Really liked it. Went and sat at the brewery on the edge of town and was just shooting the shit with the bartender, and noticed on their fridge behind the bar, they had a sticker that says, think yokel, drink local. I think it is. It's a New Glarus brewery sticker. So I brought it up. Hey, I'm from Wisconsin. I like the sticker. We got talking about beer. I was like, hey, I really like this. And then they didn't have it on tap. So he like goes into the brewery and gets a really fresh one and comes out and splits it after closing time on the house. So that's
Oh,
always a good one too. And then I've since like sent friends there when they were going through the area. When my husband, years later, when we went out west, we stopped there for a beer. So that's also pretty high up there.
very good. Like he went to the keg?
No, I think they just had some fresh bottles in the brewery.
Oh, okay. He said that would have been dope. He was just like tapping the giant like silver thing. God, there's a word for this, and I can't remember the word.
It's not vat.
It might be vat. We'll call it vat. All right.
That's
So
probably the right word.
yeah, vat's got to be the right word.
It was a pun.
Oh, vat's the right word.
Yeah, that was funny to me. Fuck you. I'm really rusty tonight, man. Like we haven't. I'm like so. Don't podcast for 14 days and like your Caden, like our like I feel off. It's weird. Also, like I didn't work for a week, so I didn't fucking talk to anyone. Like my wife did work pretty much the whole week while I was off. So I just had like no human interaction for like days at a time. So just rusty talking to people.
I've done nothing but talk to people 60 hours for the last 4 weeks. So we're doing great.
I'm trying. Okay. I guess we can. Jen did submit a bunch, but I kind of just narrowed it down to the two. So the second one here, favorite bratwurst flavors
Oh, and
or
we've tried a lot.
top two or three. We won't make it a Rushmore because we got that for later. But like, okay, so top two.
There's a local butcher by us that does a beer and onion flavor. That's always a favorite. Um, I also just like a good traditional bratwurst, um, or a Hungarian, which generally has a little heat to it.
Nice.
How much heat? Jalapeno heat or higher?
No jalapeno. Even there's
Mm.
a triple X Hungarian that they have, and even that's not that hot.
No, I had some hot ones today. They were just jalapeno.
All right. Well,
I was gonna say I love just watching Keith read the notes. Just
I
like
read
zoned
them
out
all
for a
earlier.
second there. Me too. Hey, yeah, how do you hate spotted cow? That's like the thing. That's the I
Right.
you remember my story where I asked if there was milk in it. And like I
There
felt so
isn't.
stupid. Obviously there's yeah, that would be silly, right?
Yeah. I mean, with all them, there are milk stouts and then milkshake IPAs. So there's like
Yep.
lactose in beer. Um, Spotted Cow, Nuclear's Brewing Company, famously doesn't distribute outside of the state of Wisconsin. I think several of their other beers are much better. I also don't like farmhouse ales or saison. It gets too sweet for me. I
Mm.
am an IPA drinker, pale ales, like a good lager. And by IPAs, I mean actual IPAs, not Tanner and Tommy IPAs. So I think their Moon Man is much
What's
better.
a Tanner and Tommy IPA? I'm
Shinerbach.
I
Yeah.
don't even know what any of that means. I'm not a beer
Or Keats.
connoisseur.
Even Keats isn't a real IPA, and that's what me and Scans drink, and it's not a real IPA. It hasn't been since it was since it was incepted. Since its inception.
Incepted. I don't think incepted.
No.
And I don't believe incepted is a word. Intercepted.
Wrong again, Keith.
So I know you said you didn't want to talk about work too much, but you want to give us a very generic what you do for a living. It's talk as little as much as you want, in case it's.
Sure. I'm an engineer by degree, mechanical engineer. I started in like traditional power generation, steam gas turbines, traveled around a bunch, fixing big machines when they were broken. Decided I didn't want to do that anymore, so I hired into a local utility company. Bounced around a couple plants again, supervision, engineering, back again, till I finally landed in renewables, which is where I wanted to be after college anyway. So at the moment, I just became a regional manager So right now I have responsibility for all of our wind and solar sites under the utility umbrella. So it's like 5 wind farms and 4 solar farms, plus a couple little other things here and there. So
It was awesome.
That's pretty dope. And then like you wanted to like fix things and gain power. Cool. So you've been lifting since like high school?
yeah, probably a little before. So my dad had a couple different jobs growing up. Eventually, he became a personal trainer with one of his friends. As part of that, he put a bunch of weight equipment in our basement when I was like in middle school.
Ooh,
So I was always kind of around it. I did all sorts of sports growing up. I played soccer, played softball. I dabbled in basketball before I didn't grow anymore in 8th grade.
How tall are you,
I
Kaylee?
even I'm 5'4", and I've been
Okay, that's
five
not
four
that
since
short.
I was
You've made multiple comments
14.
about being short. Like that's not that short. I mean, that's not tall, but that's
I
not
mean,
that.
that's my height.
I know.
So
I thought you were like the way you were. I mean, yeah.
No,
Okay.
when they keep setting things at 48-inch crossbars for strongman, it feels like I'm short.
Yeah, I'd love some 48s. Thanks, fucking big Heinrich over there with a fucking 54 sandbag. This summer is gonna suck.
and then okay, so then you did that. You got into at some point track.
Yeah, I picked up track probably sometime in middle school. Gravitated towards shot put. So I threw shot and disc through high school. I also hurdled, and not the short ones that are the long distance around the track, but the taller ones, which are the short distance. We had a rare phenomenon at our high school where all of our shot putters were also our hurdlers. I'm told that's not common.
I wouldn't imagine because wouldn't like aren't most shot putters like usually like larger stature humans?
So coincidentally, we were also generally the smallest throwers.
Giselle had fucking boulder shoulders or something. And just,
It's always been speed and technique and power for me personally.
okay.
I might not be the strongest, but I can figure out how to make my body go through the right motions. Track's the one that stuck for me. I gave up soccer in high school, dabbled in rugby really quickly, but it always came back to track. And that's actually I did that all through college too, Division
Oh, cool.
3. So I did retire from hurdles mid freshman year, and then I picked up the hammer and the javelin in college when those became events.
Oh, that's awesome. And
And
I heard you held a record. You said it was recently broken or still stands for your hammer?
So the one thing about a small engineering school is there haven't always been women. There were women starting in like 95, so it's not like a huge pool. But I ended up breaking the hammer school record uh, junior year and then again senior year. And then my hammer school record stood for 12 years before it was
Damn.
finally broken. And then 2 years later, that one was broken. So I'm third on the list now.
Nice. That's cool that they still keep all those like historical records too. A lot
Yeah.
of places
Somewhere
aren't
there's a
great at
picture
that.
of me. It was on a board in the field house at one point.
do they update you? Like, do they email you and be like, "Hey, your record's been broken"?
Oh, I'm pretty sure she checked the leaderboard like 3 times since we started the podcast.
I actually I didn't know that it was better in the last season because I hadn't looked. I stayed in touch with my college coach for a while, and I kind of followed the team on and off. So I knew when it had finally been broken because I was like, come on, somebody's got to break this. It's not that impressive of a record, right?
And then moved into curling, which
Uh,
as a Canadian, pretty excited about, even though I don't really watch curling, but it is like one of our national sports.
I hate biceps work. It's so boring.
correct.
Da da da.
Technically, the curling predated track because my parents curled and my grandparents and my great grandparents. But my parents curled when I was a kid. So I did a few years of juniors curling when I was like probably 7 or 8 years old. And then didn't curl for a while, came back to it when I stopped traveling for work, which was, oh God, it's been almost 9 years now. Whew. So then, yeah, those are my winter rocks.
Yeah, and did you ever watch Men with Brooms?
I own Men with Brooms on DVD.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, of course.
I think
Keith, have you
I'm
glazed Men with Brooms?
I don't think I've ever glazed curling. I don't really know what the fuck curling is. Like I can't imagine. Is it the thing where like you throw something and then you sit there with a fucking like a squeegee in front of it or something?
Oh
I'm very
my God.
I do you want will you poorly explain curling to
Nobody's
me?
ever yelled hurry hard at this boy. Do you want to give do you want to give him a breakdown of like give you a 1 minute
Sorry
how
to
to
insult
curl?
your passion and hobby, Katie.
No,
I
I've
haven't.
I've been explaining curling because it's like been that weird thing my family does my whole life, and this was like pre when it was in the Olympics, and definitely pre the U.S. winning the gold medal in it. So I've explained it my entire life. So sheet of ice, roughly 100 and some feet long. There's two kind of targets set into the ice. They're called houses. They're 12 feet in diameter. There's a series of 2 foot rings. Ideas to get a stone, which is a round piece of granite, weighs approximately 42 pounds, closest to the center.
Okay.
You throw or deliver them. It's not actually throwing. You slide out of something called the hack, and using your legs, you kind of push the stone, and then it goes down the ice. There's people who are sweeping. The sweeping helps the stone go a little farther and keeps it straighter. Bottom of the stone has got a thin running band on it. So not the whole bottom of it doesn't touch the ice. So between that thin running surface and the pebble, so like little bumps on the ice,
Hmm.
and then putting a turn on the handle of the rock, that's what actually allows it to curl. So that's why it's called curling.
So it's actually spinning the whole. Does it? I guess I kind of. Does it spin it? Does it turn at the very end, or is it like the whole time the thing is spinning? The thing that you.
Uh it's gradual most
Okay.
times. Sometimes the ice is weird and it goes straight, but hey, you never know.
Interesting.
Imagine shuffleboard, but way bigger and with more screaming. A
Yeah.
lot more.
Lots of yelling.
And you're yelling at the sweepers, hurry, hurry hard, and as the sweepers are, their job is to smooth the ice in front of the rock, and if they back off, the rock can slow down a bit so that it gets to its house. I think you said.
Yep.
Yep. And as it slows down, it gets it better into the house. Or if they continue sweeping the ice, which is smoothing the ice, it allows it to travel a little further. I understand the dynamics of curling, but I have never and probably won't ever. That's just as a Canadian,
It,
like you have to know. Like it is one of those like Corner Gas did it, Men with Brooms did it. Like you have to know these rules, even if you're never gonna do it.
it is fun to try once. We actually I had a group from workout for our Christmas event, like it would have been 23. And that was like my boss remarked, he's like, I had no idea what to expect going into this, but everybody was having fun. Everybody
Yeah.
was doing teamwork. We did like a little learn to curl thing. Any clubs near people generally do some sort of learning or teaching thing.
I
I heard
heard a
that.
kitty.
I heard a kitty.
Yeah, she's hungry. It's 7 minutes past dinner time, and we share her shitter is in my office, so I gotta feed her.
Yeah,
All
no, you're
right.
good. I'll can try to convince Joey into doing the strongman show in April or
Yeah, I know. Actually,
May.
I so there's one coming up in August here out in
Okay.
northern Canada, and it's hello, kid,
Oh, big orange
kitty.
fluffers.
Hi, kitty.
This is
That's like
Pepper. She's hungry.
Pepper looks hungry.
And they're going to be doing mostly Bavarian and floor press. And I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll put that on my list. But the one you sent me, sure. Like if I can set my own weights,
Or on some of them, I think it was one of the that's the biggest hurdle for me in strongman. It's like if at least not one of the events is rising bar, it's kind of like, well, fuck. It's like all these static weights that I can't do, so I
hmm,
need to have some kind of options of like pick your own weight. But with that, the caveat of that is it's not like powerlifting. You get 3 attempts. It's if you're the weakest person there, you're going to follow yourself 3 times.
yep.
So open really really light and maybe only even plan on hitting 2 lifts because you might have to follow yourself 3 times and only get like 30 seconds to 90 seconds in between your lifts.
I mean,
So
and
that is
it's in your city, so like worst case, I get a hotel or just go in and come home. It's not a bad idea, and and Katie, we just we're talking. I just started strongman training this week. I've been doing powerlifting
Welcome.
now for 3 years, and it's run its course. If I ever have to hear bench press rack again, I will lose my fucking mind. I'm just done. I'm done with benching in general, to be honest with you, and powerlifting in general. So I think it's time for me to start lifting some rocks. I think there's some Highland games definitely in my future in the next year or two as well. Because I've been going to those, I've been watching those, and you know, I'm definitely interested in that. So we talked about that while you were feeding the cat.
Well, so I heard caught that you were like maybe worried about zeroing an event. Like there's generally five events, right? 0, 1, have fun with the four others. Just
Yeah.
go out and have a good time.
Yeah, I don't have stones. So I think one of my goals is to fill my sandbag as full as possible, even if I have to pack it with rubber or foam to like mock a stone. But even that's only going to be 100, 150 pounds. Deadlifting, I think even Carp commented, he's like, you're not going to have a problem with deadlifting at all. I think when it comes to strongman deadlifting, that's going to be my bread and butter.
Yeah.
And even overhead, I'm not that weak at for my size. But there are people definitely bigger than me and stronger than me that are going to be lifting me over their heads and making me look bad.
That'll be Tyler at the Arnold when he lifts versus me in the other 64s.
Tyler. What is he? He benched like 380 or something for like I said a 10 today. And I was like, fuck you, Tyler.
Yeah, stop.
Jesus
Relax.
Christ. It's like Jesus. And he's like, and it was funny too, because he looks so he makes his adjustable bench look so small that at first I thought it was like because rep makes up let's I'm guessing, but I'm pretty sure it's one of Rep's bigger adjustable benches, like the 5200 or something. But like him on it, it looks like their smallest like economy bench. So I was just rather amusing. But as far as strongman goes, Katie, I don't know if we really got into your origin of well, okay, so we were finishing up your, so you did college track through this, that, and the other. When did you get into strongman, and did you have any like powerlifting or just bro commercial gym times in between that? But like I want to hear your strongman journey.
So coming out of college, I tore the labrum in my right shoulder in two places throwing javelin senior year. Got that fixed the fall after I graduated. Then I started traveling for work and drinking probably too much beer and eating out a lot, working long hours, and then I weighed like 200 pounds.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So then I eventually got more consistent with exercise. Actually, working a lot of night shift helped with that because then you didn't go out and drink the beer and do stuff. I kind of lifted inconsistently for a long time, lifting when I was home or at hotel gyms or whatever. And then I got off the road in 16, started lifting a little more consistently, but still like, I know enough. I'll program myself. Got more consistent with it the longer I was home. And then in 21, I'd kind of been following a program for a while, kind of training super total. Just the power lifts bore the shit out of me. I do like bench press. I am good at it, but like I also had a background in Olympic lifts from track and training cleans and snatches and stuff for throwing and being explosive. So I kind of like training all five of the big lifts. And then we were sitting at a brewery, Black Husky, where my beer's from tonight. And the owner comes up, sitting next to me and my husband, and was like, it was summer. I had a sleeveless shirt on. You guys look like you lift weights. Do you lift weights? Yes, I lift weights. Well, we're going to do a strongman show here. I have these Atlas stones. Do you want to come lift rocks one Saturday? Absolutely. I want to come lift rocks one Saturday. So I came back to the brewery and lifted rocks one Saturday and signed up for my first strongman show. So that would have been Battle of the Brewery. I think that one was later. I think it was like September of 21 because it was kind of around the time he was releasing his Oktoberfest. So the women we might have all been lumped together, but we were all like under 160 at the time. So did the first one, won that one. Won free beer. So that was pretty cool. And then, I mean, from the first time I lifted a stone, I was hooked. it's moving and lifting things that are heavy. That's what I'm better at rather than just like straight up deadlifting or squatting or bench pressing. So then I did that one. I started doing some other local shows, dropped down to under 140 in 22. That's when I qualified for Strongman Corp Nationals, went out and did that. Got tripped up by a pretty slippery floor and screwed up one event pretty bad. So I ended up finishing like 10th, I think, missed out on Arnold. And then bounced around some local shows since then. Technically held the title of Wisconsin's strongest middleweight 1 year. Then last year did Minnesota's strongest. That was the Strongman Corp Regional. So I'm Minnesota's strongest lightweight right now. And that's what got me into the Arnold this year.
Nice. And then
just having a beer and somebody's like, "You want to lift rocks?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yeah, I do." And now you're competing at the Arnold. What a journey!
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I can feel like that would be the same for most.
I'd be remiss not to shout out the owner of the brewery, Tim, and his wife, Tony. They've done a lot for the local community in Strongman, hosting their event every year. Tim hosts training days. So it was also like a community of lifters I found, which I never really had. We'd show up, he does for the first X amount of weeks before the show. You can come train the rocks, lift the stones. I've accumulated a number of pieces of strongman equipment. So I bring some of my stuff out if we were using it for events, and kind of a small group. It's like, hey, if you want to, it's a good starter show. Like that's his goal, is like, hey, come out for a few weeks, try the events, and then compete in the show. Everyone's here to have fun. Most people are also here to drink beer, and it's a good time. It's, they get a lot of community support, and they've just been great people. They actually came out to Erie with me when I qualified for nationals. So that was really cool.
So do they have a gym inside of the brewery, or he just like bought some stones and they're just like in the back and you guys just do it in the parking lot? I guess I'm trying to envision what you do there.
Okay, so the brewery's on the first floor, so there's like a patio stone area. And by stones I mean like little gravel ones. So he's got his Atlas stones kind of in there, and then he's got spirits barrels around. So we generally lift stones to barrels. If I bring the yoke over, we lift stone over bar. There's a few pieces of equipment floating around like in the little brewery itself. And then upstairs, he used to have a gym. He had like a squat rack, a couple machines. They've since redid the upstairs, so the gym's a lot smaller, and not really, you can't really fit a lot of people up there anymore. So usually, we're just in the sidewalk, sometimes in the street if we can block the cars, but we just kind of do stuff in the sidewalk with whether it's farmers. He's got a couple tires we can flip. We've done sandbag throws. So we're kind of out there on Saturday morning greeting all the locals who are walking their dogs and stuff.
That's so
Have
cool.
you ever had a I'm going to call it a big Toby moment where you're a little bit too inebriated and you try to lift something and you just kind of don't make it happen? Something that you should be able to lift, obviously, like Big Toby's wife.
Like your wife.
But you just can't do it because you underestimated how much you had drank.
I mean, probably, but nothing specific recalls to mind. But yeah, me drinking and then trying to lift something, that's probably happened.
Nice. Yeah, I can't do that. I don't know. I've never felt that urge to be like, I'm gonna drink 7 beers and then go to my gym. It's like, I don't want to do that. That just feels like a bicep tear waiting to happen.
Yeah, I've never done that. I do try to not drink until after the last event, when it's kind of become traditional to shotgun a hams. It's the unofficial 6th event.
What the hell is that? Is that an IPA?
Oh no, well, yes. In the masconomic sense, that's an IPA. It's a fine domestic beverage from the land of the cold blue waters.
Good stuff. Okay. So do you get a lot of shit for not liking cheese?
I'm a terrible Wisconsinite, right? I don't like the Green Bay Packers. I don't like spotted cow, and most types of cheese do not agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lifelong thing. I can eat like mozzarella, maybe some milder cheeses, but even if there's a little bit of cheddar cheese in something, I can sniff it out. I don't want to eat it. It just, I don't know if it's the way it's aged or what it is. It does not agree with me.
Does that include cheese curds?
Uh-huh.
Dang. I can't imagine not liking cheese curds. Nope.
Yep.
Nope. Keith is thinking again.
I've asked the last like 17 questions. You're up.
I went pee.
QRS to you.
All right. Yeah. Let's do a Mount Rushmore. Let's jump into a Mount Rushmore here.
Have it.
Uh Okay. Let's go beer styles.
Oh,
Your Mount Rushmore of beer styles. I know IPA is going to be on there.
yeah. So I'm gonna go with West Coast IPA.
Oh,
I've
really?
been liking those for all. I've always liked those, and that's kind of where I've been trending back towards recently. I like a good hazy IPA. I actually a really well done lager is always one of my favorites,
Mm-hmm.
and just a good plain lower ABV pale ale.
So for the average listener, what's the difference between a West Coast and a standard IPA?
A West Coast generally will be a little bit darker in color, a little more amber, but it has a piney taste to it generally,
Mhm.
versus just the kind of lighter, bitter. Yeah, it's usually like I would describe it as like a piney taste to it.
And the hazy
More.
IPAs, they're usually unfiltered, so they kind of look
Yep,
kind of
kind of
messy.
tastes like citrus fruits.
Yep. I'm actually really interested in that spruce IPA. I think I've had a spruce IPA up here, and
There's a few breweries that do them.
well, yeah, it's easy to get. It's like I said, you can literally pick the tips off trees and throw them in. Have you ever had a wet hops IPA?
Yep.
That has been the best thing I've ever had, and they're so hard to find for some weird reason because they have to be brewed like they have to be farmed and brewed in a specific amount of time, right? Because most
Yeah, they usually have to be pretty fresh if I'm remembering right.
yeah, most breweries buy their hops in bulk, right? So you need to get those ones that make their own hops. And to get those guys, and they brew them in a specific amount of time. But wet hops IPAs have always been the best beer I've ever had. Also, I could just eat hops in general. They just taste like
You said
pine.
that like at least 17 times.
Oh,
in
they
the
just
last
taste like
18.
pine sol, bud.
I'd say once a month you've said that, give or take.
Yeah. Same with
And I
with
still
spruce
don't-
tips. They actually
I still
taste the
don't know
same
what
as
the fuck
spruce
you're
tips, to be
talking
honest
about.
with you.
Oh, I think the episode title has to be something to do with you eating a fucking tree or something.
You're
All
a
right.
tree.
I tree hard. Where the fuck? Okay, so Katie, you ready
Unpaid
for?
underrated goes full Canadian curling and eating trees.
Yeah, with only one Canadian on it.
She might
Canadian
be
eating
as
trees. Want to talk maple syrup?
she might
We
be as
can do
north as
that.
Oh,
you though, isn't she?
I do love maple syrup.
Oh, but I love maple syrup. I made breakfast on New Year's Day, and literally I was just like bacon, egg, sausage, and then just maple syrup because I knew I was going to lift her later that day. Yep, absolutely doused it all in maple syrup. Not that shitty corn syrup glue maple syrup. No, not that one in the thin bottle, the big bottle that comes right from the farms.
All right, Katie, you want to do a little FMK, a little fuck Mary Kill game for you here. I got a few options, but I think I'm gonna try to make it hard for you here. So I don't want to give you the layup. I want to give you one where you really got to think about it. So FMK, specifically for you, Big Katie, strongman, beer, curling.
Jeez.
Oh, you're mean.
Yeah, that's awful. I recognize that as mean.
Strongman, curling, beer. FMK.
I'd kill beer.
Yep.
I can live without beer. I'd probably F strongman. It's fun to play around with, but I'm gonna marry the curling. Man, people can curl till they're in their 90s.
That's
Like we had a almost near
fair.
100-year-old lady out there curling. You can stop sliding and you can push the stone with a hack, and you can still go in the basement and hang out afterwards at the club. So I think I'd have to stick with curling in the long term.
It's a good answer. That will actually segue there. So you had obviously you mentioned earlier your dad was a personal trainer, had the home gym in the basement. Is that gym still a thing?
Oh no, we moved out of that house
Gotcha.
A long time ago.
Well,
No,
like
he is.
him having a home gym
He's
in general, is that still a thing, I guess?
Yeah, we have a home gym now. Me and my husband.
Yeah.
We were training at a local Y or between a couple local Ys when COVID hit. So, like everybody else in 2020, scraped together what we could. And I think we made it till August using some old adjustable dumbbells he had in the basement before we finally got our hands on a squat rack, and then continued building that out. Somehow I ended up the one who doesn't get to park in the garage anymore, and he still does. I
Well,
had the older car at the time.
who uses the gym more though? Does he use it as much as you?
In the beginning, it was pretty even. It's skewed towards me a little more recently as I've done more strongman stuff, and he's a bit more of a runner. He's run a couple marathons now, so he still does the strength training, but focuses a little bit more on his running. He actually bought the log first, but a squat rack, a bar, and a couple plates has spiraled into few bars, some strongman equipment, more plates. We got a lat pull for the rack. So
Nice.
there's a leg extension, leg curl in the basement. So we're like slowly bleeding into the
Just because there's
basement
no
a little
room,
bit.
or it's just
The opposite of what you're doing there, Keith, is we are going from the garage into the basement a little bit instead of creeping out into the garage.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing to have two separate gyms on the same. It just you're just turning the whole area into a compound gym, you know. So it's just multiple little
The whole house is a
micro
compound.
gyms everywhere. Yeah, I love it. No, but that was just I always like a little home gym talk.
What's
we
with
were
your
actually we were just discussing what's to buy a treadmill, fine, and where to put it. And I was like, well, you could stop parking in the garage. No, apparently that wasn't a suitable option. So it'll go somewhere in the house.
Yeah, those winters hit hard.
Well, we got heaters.
Right? Yeah, but I mean, like when you got to go out to your car and it's covered in fucking everything. Like today, we had a small snowstorm last night that I didn't even realize it happened while I was asleep and just woke up to inches and inches of snow. And like if I had a garage, that would have been helpful. Now the Chicago Bears, Chicago Cubs, everything has been mentioned a couple times. Are you a fan of them?
Yep. Yeah. So, from Milwaukee, but my mom's side of the family is originally from Chicago. Dad was from Indianapolis, so they were not Packer fans growing up. Somehow, despite growing up in Wisconsin in the 90s, I did not get on the bandwagon. So I am a Bears fan, although most people will tell you I am generally pretty apathetic about the whole situation. Grew up a Cubs fan. Brewers and Cubs were not. They were in two different leagues. I am old enough that they were AL and NL when I started. Now they're obviously in the same division. Yeah, Blackhawks fan. Went to a Stanley Cup game in 2013, must have been. I'm a Milwaukee Bucks fan, though. I got that one going for me.
Not a Vikings fan?
No.
Different. That's entirely different state.
Well, I know, but everything's Midwest here. All right. So
I want to hear. Yep, you got one.
No, you go ahead.
I want to hear about the multiple occasions where you've gone into work with black eyes or broken this or broken that.
That's fun. That's a fun story.
This isn't domestic, abuse. Like I just lift heavy things and sometimes they don't go where I want them to go. She, you pull a big Tron every now and then and just drop shit on yourself.
Neither black eye is related to lifting.
Oh, okay.
One was
That makes it a more intriguing story then.
No. First one was I was playing with my dog. He is what I like to call a generic black dog, meaning he is a black lab mix of some form. Was playing with him, and he has some sort of ridge on his head. And in some process of playing with him, the ridge in his head hit my eye, like right in my eyebrow, so my eye swelled up. So then I had to go into work and explain that my dog gave me a black eye. Went over like a fart in church. The second one was actually recently. I was riding my bike home. I might have won a Stein holding competition earlier in that evening. I hit some railroad tracks, and despite wearing a helmet, because I do always wear a helmet. I busted my face pretty bad. It was actually bleeding. We did manage to bike home the rest of the like 8 miles.
Ugh, sounds
But
horrible.
then I had to go into work with a cut above my right eye and another black eye. But so that one was just this past summer. Um, I went in for a physical at one point, and there was like a med student. And she's like, this might be really inappropriate, but I gotta ask. She's like, well, why were you lifting 240 pounds? I'd strained my back deadlifting a while ago. I can actually deadlift more than that now. But yep, had gone into the emergency room for that. And she goes, also, what were you doing with a 200-pound rock that it got dropped on your foot? I was lifting a 200-pound Atlas stone one day and it rolled and it fell on my foot. And I wanted to make sure I didn't break my foot. So I went and got an x-ray. But yeah,
Makes sense.
those are fun questions to answer.
What's the sign holding competition?
Steinholding, so Maschkrugstammen for the Germans. It's a 1 liter stein of beer, and you have to extend your arm out. And you generally have to keep your thumb at about eye level, so it's a front hold. It's just with a full liter of beer.
It's like that's a calisthenics shit. Like I don't. Jesus.
Well, no, that's actually a strongman event too. Like I've never
Yep.
seen it in a show,
Yep.
but have you come across that in a show yet, Katie?
We did a front hold at the Battle of the Brewery. He had a custom, it was 2 hands, he had a custom metal cup made, and then you could drop like 5 or 10 pound plates in it. So we actually did it the first year. It's the boringest event ever, and we're never doing it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it'd be fun to watch. I heard
like-
sign holding, and I was like, "What sign were you holding?"
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Stein
like-
holding.
Were you like spinning a
like when she was a
sign?
mascot, like
Yeah.
like holding up signs. Go team.
Go team, and then just hit in the face with a sign. All right. Should we go into unpaid and underrated?
Yeah. Was there anything else? I think I that was the story I wanted to get out. Let me just. Yeah, I think we're good. Yes. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so relatively new game. We came up with it all by ourselves. 100% original. It's called Unpaid or Underrated. We're gonna give Katie a handful of select topics just for her, and she'll have to decide, for us in the audience at home, if the individual topic is unpaid, meaning overrated, not so great, or underrated. It's pretty awesome. So, Big Katie, unpaid or underrated, getting married at a brewery.
Oh, that's underrated. That shit costs $50. Still the best $50 I've ever spent.
Is there a story there? Like, how does that like was that on a whim thing or?
Yes and no. So my husband, we had talked about it, getting married. We'd been together for 5 years at that point. And I saw that one of the local breweries here, Lakefront Brewery, used to be able to rent out their hall for weddings and stuff. They stopped doing that a few years ago. So on Valentine's Day, you can get married at the brewery. So I'm like, it was a Tuesday. I know this because I had to go to curling, and I like mentioned it to my husband in passing, and he's playing a video game or something. And it's like, so it turns out we can get married at Lakefront Brewery for $50, and like getting married at the courthouse was $100. So like I mentioned it to him, and then
Put pen to paper. It just makes sense.
yeah, can't afford not to.
Can't afford not to. Yep.
There you go.
So I mentioned it to him, kind of like got a non-committal response, and then a few days later, he's like, "So are we gonna do the get married at a brewery thing?" And I was like, "Well, he didn't really give me a committal response." So then, we signed up and we got married at the brewery on Valentine's Day,
Wait, so
and then we stayed because it was a Friday and there was fish fry.
So it went from like long-term boyfriend girlfriend 5 years together, never engaged, to a conversation and getting married at a brewery with
Yeah.
zero engagement and like not actually getting engaged.
Well, so at that point we owned a house,
Yeah.
but yes, we went from like, yeah, we're gonna get married someday to in a
Gotcha.
month married at the brewery on Valentine's
All
Day,
right.
and then a month later the world shut down because it was COVID.
Oh well, yeah.
And then stuck around for the fish fry, which I think is my favorite part of that story, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
yeah, that was good.
It was a Friday. It's Wisconsin.
Well, yeah, that's what you do on Fridays. You fish fry. When you're eating your fish now, a weird thing I've developed is now I just hand bomb. Like when I eat deep fried fish, I no longer use a knife and fork. I full on just like eat it like a chocolate bar. Is that a thing you're at now?
Sometimes they're way too wide for
What
that,
kind
though.
of fish are you eating that you need to cut it with a knife?
Exactly, right? And if you have to, then it's the wrong place for you to be at. Yeah, full on just
Right.
in the face.
No, I use a fork. You don't need a knife.
No, I don't use a fork. Yep, just ham bombing, just fried fish into my face now.
It looks like you see what he looks like on the video, right, Keith? When he's putting the
Dicks,
fish
yeah.
into
Oh,
his mouth.
Keith has already made dick jokes 15 times in his head.
Good stuff. All right. Big Katie, unpaid or underrated mashed potatoes.
Oh, unpaid. I can't eat them.
And
Why?
it's just mashed
Uh,
potatoes. It's not potatoes or it's like starchy stuff.
it
It's just mashed potatoes.
No, like so baked potatoes are generally bad. Not really crispy fries. Bananas, it's a texture thing.
Okay.
So
Mm,
Mouthfeel.
bananas kind of fall into the same category. Anything that's really mushy like that, my stomach is just like, nope, hard pass. Get this out of me.
Hmm.
So
Like
just stopped trying.
to the
Yeah,
point
like
of the point
mushy
of
sweet
getting ill
potatoes,
or
anything.
just like a mental thing.
I don't know. I'm
Okay.
36 years old. I don't need to vomit if I don't have to. So I'm
All
not
right.
going to try anymore.
That tracks. All right. Good to know. Oh, let's see. I got okay. Unpaid or underrated James Bond.
Um, I'm going to go underrated. I really enjoy James Bond. I own a number of the movies. We just went to the James Bond exhibit, at the Museum of Science and Industry. That was something I wanted to do for Christmas, so I went to geek out on Bond stuff for a while. Some of, on an individual basis, might some of the movies be unpaid? Sure, but as a whole, I have gotten a lot of enjoyment out of it. I enjoy.
Nice.
so
So
who's your favorite
Yep.
James Bond?
He beat my follow-up. Yes. Have at it.
ah,
I have a second follow-up with that.
it would be. I I really like the early Connery movies.
Mhm.
Doctor No, Goldfinger from Russia with Love. The older ones, not so much. And then I like the Daniel Craig era. Skyfall is probably my favorite, so I'm going to go with Daniel Craig.
Same.
Second follow-up, second James Bond follow-up. If you could, it's two-parter. So, who do you want to be the next James Bond realistically? And then who, like all time, like actors that have been alive your entire life or before, do you think should have been a James Bond, but is probably too old now?
Should have been a James Bond, but is too old as Clive Owen.
Yep. Good call. Yep.
And then I'm not sure on the next Bond.
Is there even a
Henry
front runner
Cavill.
or anything? Like, I don't even like when is that
Henry
series
Cavill could
taken
do
off?
it. I think Richard Madden would also be good. If they're looking for a bit of a, because James Bond was the actor is kind of a little unknown, so they can kind of go into the role of Bond. So those are the two big names, and I'm hoping they choose someone that's not on my radar because I don't pay enough attention to really have a.
Good to know. All right. Well, those were mine. Let's hand this.
So I was watching a movie the other day, and you guys have seen no, Keith, you wouldn't have seen this. The what's that movie? Eurovision with Will Ferrell and what's her face? No, okay. There's a guy in there. I'm gonna get it for you. Distract me for a second.
All right.
Um,
I'll just ask for one more if you need a minute. So, Big Katie, unpaid or underrated Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears rookie quarterback, number one draft pick. Caleb Williams. That's a hard one.
Uh,
Voice the
I hope
druthers.
he's I hope he's underrated.
Yeah.
There's potential there. Um, there's some other things that need to be fixed with the organization, but he's definitely shown flashes. So I'm going to go with a hopeful underrated, but being the realistic Bears fan that I am, it's probably going to turn out that he's unpaid in like 2 years and we'll start this whole process over again.
Yeah. That tracks with a Bears fan. I'm right in the same boat there.
so the guy I'm thinking about, his name is Dan Stevens, He did the Lion of Love song. He's been in several things. He was in a movie I watched last night, and he actually, like, the more I watch him, I'm more interested in him. And I think Dan Stevens might be a good James Bond. And I think that if I put that out there, hey, maybe no, it won't happen. But that's a guy to watch. That's a guy to watch. He's an unknown name. He's not that famous. He might be a good James Bond. Unpaid or underrated cookie cutters.
We hear you have quite a
Uh,
collection.
I do. Yes. Uh, Traditional Christmas cookie cutters have their place, but they can be a bit unpaid. Your non-traditional cookie cutters are underrated. You never know when you need to bake a bunch of penis cookies, so you might as well have three different size penis
I
cookie
was
cutters.
literally going to ask if you had any dick cookie cutters, so I'm so glad you went there first, but I didn't have to awkwardly ask. That's awesome.
I also have ninjas, a slice of bacon, beer cans, a beer bottle. I have a curling stone, which comes in handy during Bonspiel season when we're baking goods for people to eat at the tournaments and stuff. So, yeah.
Were some of those gifts, or were those all self-purchases?
I have a few that were like family ones because we bake
The
cut
dick
out
ones,
cookies
obviously,
growing
right?
up,
You know.
and then I've bought a few. I don't know that I've ever gotten one as a gift. I 100% bought the penis ones. We've gone through a number of bachelorette parties and inappropriate cookies and
And those, of course, would be dick and balls.
uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you were wondering if you can make flesh colored icing, you most certainly can.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, that's great.
Those would obviously be cheese flavored. Unpaid or underrated. I think I only have one more. Let's go country music.
It's under. I have to say it's underrated. I love country music. I listen to it old '90s to like Stapleton to even some of your popular country. I've been to a number of Luke Bryan concerts. I've been to all kinds of better concerts than that. So
Did you have to be quiet at that one, or?
no, I was in like my mid-20s and having a lot of beer, and having a good time. So
How old are
yeah,
you,
I
Katie,
gotta go with
roughly?
unpaid.
I think we
What?
missed. How old are you, Katie?
36.
Okay, so we're all about the same age.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not a master yet, unlike you two jokers.
Hey, I'm not masters for a couple more months.
Oh, that's right.
Or
You're
6
not
more
quite
months.
yet.
I
Yep,
actually had to.
I
I
am.
actually had to DM one of the local strongman show directors. I was like, so there's a show like 3 weeks before I turn 40. Can I sign up for masters? Because if not, I got to go novice again. And I know everyone keeps getting butthurt that I do novice shows, but like, I'm not doing the open. Like, I can't. Like, it's a fucking like a 350-pound sandbag. Like, no, I can't even lift a 220-pound sandbag, let alone a 350-pound sandbag. So fuck off. I'm not going open. And he was like, "No, you can't do it until you're 40." And I was like, "Fuck!" So I guess I like have to do, novice again for one more.
And they check ID.
I probably could have honestly just got away with it and done it, but like I want to do shows with these guys for the next like 20 years, as long as they keep hosting them locally, because I obviously want to do the show that's 5 minutes from my house, not an hour and a half away.
Well, I think you passed unpaid and underrated.
Well
You
done.
did it. Yeah. Put that on the check mark system.
Did you have that on your bingo card for 2025 that you were gonna pass unpaid and underrated?
I don't know that I really started a bingo card for 2025 yet.
No, we should. We should do it. Like at some point, we should do an unpaid and underrated Hall of Fame bingo card.
Be so much work, but it has to be like all just digital, like for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm not mailing out fucking
stuff
cards.
out. Ain't nobody
Yeah.
got time for that.
We're not going to add that to Big Jeff's plate.
Hey Jeff,
wouldn't-
this is your job now.
And honestly, though, it probably wouldn't like, as long as we didn't have to mail. Like, I bet it would be easy enough to like find a place to make them and then just like have a mailer, like just email the mailer list and be like, you mail these out. But like, no, I'm still not going to do that. So unless someone wants to donate like $300 to pay for all that.
So I guess that means, do you have anything for us?
Do
Nice. My favorite part.
I have a FMK for Keith. Now that you're several shows into your strongman journey, strongman presses, FMK, axle, log, and circus dumbbell.
Oh, okay. So I gotta kill Circus just because I'm so new to it, and it's been fun because it's new, but like it's hard, and I think like my ratio, like I am weaker in that one than the rest, so it's just like it sucks. Like I don't know. I feel that the 115 was pretty awesome, but like when I got other people that are hitting like like 150, it's like that stings more than when someone. I guess when someone being 20 or 30 pounds stronger on the circus dumbbell stings more than when they're only 20 or 30 pounds more on the other lifts. So I guess I'll kill circus. I do like circus, but I'll kill it. I will marry. Oh, wow, that's hard. Damn. Axle or log? Fuck. I wonder if my answer kind of changes throughout the year. I think I'm gonna marry Axel and fuck log. Yeah, because I can do Axel year round, but I can only do log in the summer basically, or when I go to a commercial gym. So I guess that tracks. I really do like log though, but after hitting that like huge, and I think if you asked me this 2 days ago, I might have said that I was married log, but I hit a huge, for me, a triple PR and Axel last night, and it was just so invigoratingly awesome and satisfying that that's probably still fresh on the brain. But yeah, I'm gonna marry Axel for sure. And yeah, good question.
God, I love log press. Every time I've ever got to do it, I'm so fucking in love. Don't love circus at all, but God, I love log press.
It's fun, but the Axel was you can I feel like I can dominate an axle more than I can a log, if that makes like I don't know, like I can feel like
Mhm.
I feel more powerful with an axle. Like a log, I feel like is like controlling me sometimes, whereas the axle, like I'm controlling the axle. I
And
don't know if
and
that
that's
makes
fair, but I'm also like a foot shorter than you. So when I get that log up, I feel so much bigger than I do a log or
they're
an
both fun.
axle because like I can do overhead press with a barbell, right? So when I finally get my hands on a log, I'm so excited to get my
That's
hands on that log.
I need to see Joey. You need to start getting some like doing clean and presses versus like just unracking it from the bar. That's
Yeah,
gonna change your it's gonna change your world.
that's
That's why I
coming.
definitely got to get an axle. If you have enough height to do that in the basement too, that'll even be
I
clutch
do.
for you.
Yeah, I do, and I'll be
Um,
going for that. A
because
log,
it's
no, because I think the log's
oh
gonna
yeah,
hit
yeah,
the
a log in
ceiling,
the
but an
logs in
axle,
basement. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the benefit of the axle too, because you can almost do it anywhere. Good
good
question.
question. What else you got?
All right. For Joy, I have a Mount Rushmore of the illnesses you've had in the last 6 months.
Big big Tommy over here.
Oh my God. Um, I don't even know what half of them are. Uh, definitely, we're gonna go opposite. We're gonna go, which ones would I tear down from Mount Rushmore because they suck so bad. Um, that sinus infection I had at Matt's episode 69,
Yeah, you were dead that one.
I honestly like I ended up in the hospital on that one. That one was bad. That one was really, really bad. I felt like my brain was trying to escape out of my nose. Um, and then just I don't even know what they were. Like I can't even name what the like just generic like stomach bug, generic sinus infection, generic throat infection. Like I actually wish I had some sort of thing for all of them. The only one I know of for sure that I had was that sinus infection, and that one sucked the most. That one put me down for quite a few days. Um, the hangovers count. Can I put that one on the list? Um, yeah, I actually, because I don't have a name for those illnesses, I don't really have a full answer for that one. But that one that I had during Matt's episode and that I just refused to skip Matt's episode, that's my least favorite thing I have ever had. And that was 4 days of, I got this, I'll get through this, I'll get through this, I'll get through this. And then finally I woke up the next morning and I know I did not get through that. That one, And that one I had to drive myself to the ER for. Let's not do that again. I wish I had a better answer. I just don't know what they are. I just generically sick. And actually I've been okay for most of November, December, to be honest.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
I about died last, but
Well, yeah, you had that awful thing.
dude, yeah. I don't want to steal your story, but if you're done, no, I'll give you my dude. So 2 weeks ago we recorded our last episode. Thursday, like I didn't feel great, but powered through the episode. Didn't like have any like thing feeling too bad. I was just run down. Thought I was just like, essentially jet lag because I driven back like a 6 hour drive that day. Woke up fucking Friday, the like horrible chest cold. Like I don't know what I have to call it a chest cold because I don't know what it is. Like I've never when I get colds, I get head colds and they last like a week. Like and it's just a really bad cold. But I've never got like a chest cold where I'm like I can't breathe and I'm wheezing. Like I'm just sitting on the couch and I can like hear my fucking lungs just like gurgle. And I'm like, this should not be happening. So yeah, I had to go to the fucking urgent care Saturday. Like so the Saturday before Christmas, on the day we were doing my Christmas with her family, with Stephanie's family, I put me on a nebulizer, gave me a fucking steroid, but an inhaler, all kinds of stuff. But the worst thing was since I was on the steroid, I couldn't take ibuprofen and Dayquil. And that's how I self-medicate to power through colds. So I'm like just miserable with only having the steroid, which I guess it's doing something, but it's not fucking helping me mitigate any of my symptoms whatsoever. And I can't take anything else except Tylenol, which doesn't do a goddamn thing. So it was miserable. I had 3 family Christmases in like three and a half, like 3 or 4 days, all while being like probably the second sickest I've ever been as an adult. With the first being when I got COVID like 4 years ago and felt like I was gonna fucking die, and like had fever, like actually had fever symptoms on and off for a week, which I've never had before. But yeah, second sickest I've ever been, hands down. It was fucking miserable, and I'm just now kind of sort of getting over it 2 weeks later. Like what was it yesterday? I think it was 2 days ago that I hit that big axle. Like I was literally I like had to like sit down and like I was hacking up like just the most disgusting fluid, and that was like still like 10, 12 days after being like getting sick. So and whatever the fuck was in my lungs, it did not like me. So that's what Joey's Mount Rushmore of sickness was my lungs. That one made it on his.
Yeah, like I said, I just don't have names for them. I'm just generically sick. I just have a child who is in school with other children, and he comes home and goes, "Daddy, I love you. Here is something to ruin your next few days." And that's just life as a parent.
Yeah, I'd get so much sicker. I think if I'd.
So then one more for both of you combined between
Okay.
the two of you, Mount Rushmore of jokes that have been beat to death in the Discord that, never repeats itself.
Okay, so we both get two of those, maybe.
Yeah, let's do two. Go ahead.
Fuck. Uh, I think everything Brian related is the dumbest fucking thing in the world, and I hate it, and it was never funny to begin with. So
Yeah,
like that has to go up there for me personally, because I don't know.
No,
I never
and
got it.
I
So like
disagree.
to me,
And
that one is dead.
we escalate it so bad. Like when today I even mentioned like at the pub in Crew Falls, we sent Brian a selfie with all of us being like,
That's
"Hey
actually
Brian,
funny.
just kind of miss you here." And Tanner sent it to him from the Masconomics account. That shit's funny, man.
The mock. Yeah, I don't know. That's almost funny though. I give you that. Like, that for well, regardless, it's we both get two, so we don't have to agree. That's if Katie signs off on those rules, that's how I'm gonna play it. A second one, or unless well, I did one, so you do one. I'll take my other. Crisscross.
Actually, I hate every bot. Like I hate
Yeah, you do.
every fucking bot that we have. I hate the 69 bot. I hate the plate bot. And it's just like all you have to do is say a word, and it's a word you use in general. You'd be like, "Oh, I put on 4 plates," and then suddenly you have like 2 bots, and then I have to scroll past bots to see the next message. I just hate these bots. I don't think they're funny. They don't contribute to the Discord. All of them are unfunny and overplayed, and they don't contribute to the Discord as anything. The other one that I don't think we've beat to death yet, because I still use it consistently, is the friends we made along the way. I think that that is definitely going to run its course, but it's also the funniest thing every time somebody brings it up. And I use it in real life. I use it at work. I use it in my home life. It it definitely is going to run a course, but it has not yet. The friends we made along the way is genuinely hilarious to me.
Yeah, it's a good one. Um, I don't know. Like the selfish answer is, I'd love to not hear a fucking another joke about how big New York State is, you fuckers. But the massive, but that's more, self-serving. If that just went away.
I forgot
Uh,
about that. That's great.
I
Oh
guess I'll go
yeah.
with that. Yeah, I guess I'll stick with that one.
Yeah,
But a
you definitely earned that one.
Yeah. But one thing Tanner, so should be on the episode that comes out next week because I listened to a good bit of the live Monday. He had mentioned how they don't think they use friend of the podcast very often anymore, and I'm like, maybe it's because do we? Am I? Maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like we say that a lot on this podcast, don't we? Like when we reference someone, like mainly you, like you say friend of the podcast. I don't know if I do a lot, but like I feel like my ears are hearing friend of the podcast. Maybe not them saying it, but I feel like we must still say it in some reference, but I could be completely mistaken. So I don't know.
Not in the way that they first used it, right? Like going back to
Well,
the
yeah, well,
going back to the backlog.
We're using the way that they said it in
Yeah,
a reference that is literal when they used it as a fucking more of a joke.
yeah, that one's up there. No, the as big as New York thing is fucking hilarious. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's you earned that one. Um, yeah, I think that would be it. That would be our Mount Rushmore.
What about you, Kate? If you had to pick one that you think is the most overplayed one,
Oh,
because
oh, I didn't expect the
Joey and I kind of
tables
Joey and I kind of
to be
answer it
turned.
different.
Yeah,
He answered it more of like
Uno reverse card.
what are his favorite most used ones? Where I was like, what are the ones I want to go away forever?
We used to be a proper country is the funniest fucking thing,
I
but
don't
only
get that one. Where did that one come from? Like, I don't get the reference. Like
there
the
is no
origin, I guess.
reference.
Like,
It's just
it's got to
Tanner.
be an origin of something. Like,
Tanner said it
I
in
know.
regards to something silly, and the only time I ever use it is when it has nothing to do with politics or culture, and it's just like,
Oh, it
you
must have been
know,
from the election or something, and
like
people
you
like were
stub your
just like,
toe and you just get mad at the table, and you're like, "Fuck you, table. We used to be a proper country." That is the funniest thing is
yeah.
to use that so at a. I had a friend the other day. I don't know if he would like me telling this story, but he was booking an Airbnb. And one of the rules of the Airbnb was no orgies or gang sex. And I responded with, we used to be a proper country. Because that's the funniest response to that. He was like, who would put this in their rules? And then I was like, we used to be a proper country. Because that's the funniest response to that kind of thing. It like has nothing to do with anything.
As a sidetrack, we had an Airbnb recently where they had a rule that's explicitly stated no glitter parties. So I really want to know why that's a specific rule.
Oh,
Well, we used to be a
asshole
proper
ruined
country.
it.
I'm really struggling with this one.
That's all good. I'll you think of a little bit more, and I'll tell one more story. So another thing that's do you ever catch yourself like I'm always it's I always say my wife or it's been a while like in
My
front of my
wife.
wife and she doesn't get it and then I have to try to explain it to her and she still doesn't get it. So like that goes on the Mount Rushmore of things that are overplayed. It's like when I look like not an asshole, but like when I feel like I have to like go out of my way to like explain stuff to people because I want to like have that person I want to say these things. You instinctively say them in front of people that don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and then you kind of get looked at funny. So that would be of one of the that'd be one thing I wish could go away. Is just I guess everyone just has to sign up to be a supporting member like in the world, and then when I say fucking it's been a while in front of like on a conference call as Joey loves I won't be looked at oddly.
I think the my wife thing is kind of universal.
Well, yeah, that was a bad example, but like screaming, it's been a while. I don't think is.
Yeah, I don't do that one in IRL in real life. But the my wife, like I'll just somebody will be like, "Oh, tell me," and like I'm talking to a member or a customer or whatever, and they're telling me their life story. And I'll go, oh yeah, me and my wife. And like the husband look at the wife and like they'll kind of check with each other to see like, did he just bull rat us? Like at like while he's dealing with our issues. And I'll be like, yes, yes, I did. I did my wife.
It is disappointing that it's harder to say my husband. It doesn't really work for the
it,
chicks.
it doesn't.
Uh,
I know.
oh yeah, we didn't really talk about that. Have you kind of found like there's a lot of chips now. Like there's probably 20 plus 30, more than 20. So are you like kind of got like a are you do you like DM a lot of them fairly regular or anything like that? Have you like do are you of I don't know, is there like a sisterhood? Is there like a sister a group chat that us cookies aren't involved in? Just the chips?
Uh, Occasionally, there have been some discussions on the side. Maybe there'll be some chocolate chip merchandise one day.
Oh, that'd be dope.
It's been
It's been.
I haven't made it out to anything in person because it hasn't ever worked out. So I haven't like been able to in person, but like I've talked with Big Jen obviously, and then Big Hannah, who is really good at strongman.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can all come together for the Lift Hard Lift 3Z this year.
Oh, that's right. You
But
are
yeah,
actually you're 100% up for that, right? Because I know at one point you were like hemming and hawing about doing one of the other strongman nationals or
well,
something.
right. So that was last year. So
Okay,
I was
okay.
signed up and then did Minnesota Strongest. The biggest problem for me with that weekend is it is my niece. Shout out to Big Z. It's her birthday weekend, so we usually do a party for that. But my brother-in-law is a little crew adjacent, so he'd probably understand. Actually, she loves coming and watching when we do strongman. My brother-in-law has done the one in Milwaukee, so I'm signed up. That's the plan.
Do
We'll
it.
see how everything shakes out because that's still quite a ways away.
Yeah, fingers crossed. All right. Well, is there anything we didn't touch base on that you wanted the crew to know about, Katie?
Not that I can think of.
Do you want them to come up and say hi to you at the Arnold when they see you?
Sure, why not?
Just
We'll be around. Friday,
just
we're gonna go see Pro Strongman.
just hang out at the kiosk with us. We'll be at the Masconomics kiosk.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys might not have. So Tanner didn't actually touch base on this yet, because it was more on the episode that comes out next week. But when I talk about it now, it'll be more relevant because it'll be the same week they actually talked about it. So they're gonna have a smaller booth this year. They're gonna go
Mhm.
from a double to a single and bring a lot less merch, I guess. So that'll be interesting. So there definitely won't necessarily be room for a half dozen crew behind the curtain over there. So that'll make things a little different, but I don't not necessarily good or bad for us, just different. But just gonna save them like 6 grand or something. They said was wild.
Yeah.
It's like
The
so much
Arnold
money.
ain't
So
cheap. I do
yeah,
intend on being there. I've had talks with Tanner. We have the crew house. I don't know how Hogan's gonna put up with some of
that
that, but
fucking meme that someone made. And then Nate had to ruin it by not coming. But well, okay, that's not what I meant to say. But
Nate ruins everything by not coming.
man,
Uh,
if you know what meme I'm talking about, that's a super relevant line. Oh, that's great. Sorry, Hogan. I didn't make the meme.
but yeah, like that's gonna be wild. So it looks like I'm gonna be there. I wasn't like it was kind of 50-50 for me, but with Hogan putting up his basement, you can have the guest bedroom. I will take the
Yeah.
cold. I will take the cold ass basement with the Pittsburgh toilet any day of the week. Leave me alone. I snore when I sleep and I drink too much at the Arnold. So, no, maybe not this Arnold, but we'll see. And yeah, definitely it'll just be us hanging out. So come hang out, sign autographs, do your thing.
I don't know who's signing. I don't know who's signing the autographs, but
I'll the one fucking competing at the Arnold.
oh, okay, I gotcha. That works.
But beyond that, yeah, where do we find you?
Well, you find all our affiliate links at Obsidian, Barbell Rescue, Plate Snacks, Home Gym Con, Belt Fed Strength, and Strength Co. at the Apparel at the Strength Co. I butchered that one. And
Yeah,
then,
you did.
yes, now Katie, where are they going to find you at?
Instagram, I am Moorhead_K.
Nice. And we were asked to make jokes about that and ask if you've been picked on it, but we're not touching that with a 10-foot pole. So
Ha!
no,
No, I'm
thank
not doing
you.
that.
Nope.
Did I not tell you what my middle name is?
No. Oh, does it even make it better?
It's Gibbs Wants and Needs.
Good
I've
stuff.
had this last name my entire life. I chose not to take my husband's last name, which is Doobie, so it wasn't any better, right? So
How'd you wait for the end to drop that bomb? That's awesome. I gotta mute myself for a second.
That's good stuff. So you can find Katie there. You can go follow our Instagram, Unpaid and Underrated Podcast, the website, unpaidinternpodcast.com. We got a YouTube. I'm Big Keith. You can follow me on Instagram, KeithHoneycutt73. Go follow my Orange Jim, the Wine Cellar. And we got Big Joey over there at.
Joey _let's go MLE CZKO.
And we'll see you next Tuesday.